Hello and welcome to my second book review of the week, and today I would like to talk to you about A House at the Bottom of a Lake by Josh Malerman. Yeah, it's my first Malerman read of 2024, and it's a decent length novella or short novel, just under 200 pages. It's a quick read, although I don't think that necessarily means it's going to be a great read. It's kind of a middle of the road novella, great premise, very interesting premise. It follows James and Amelia, two teenagers going on their first date. They decide to go boating in a lake. In said lake, they find a offshoot into another secluded lake. And at the bottom of said lake, they find a house. Not like some waterlogged sunken house. No, this is like a legitimate house. I mean, it's underwater and everything, but nothing's really displaced. Like the lamps and the dressers and all the furnishings are almost like stuck in place as if the house weren't at the bottom of a lake, which is a very intriguing concept. I personally didn't think it quite lived up to the full potential that it had, which is sad to say because it intrigued me. It definitely intrigued me. This particular copy I got signed from Josh Malerman from VJ Books way back when. So that's cool. There's his little squiggle. Anyways, the main offender of the novella here is that Josh Malerman's teenagers don't sound like teenagers. They sound like grown-ass adults, which is a problem with Malerman's novels at times. Daphne, that was the biggest issue that I had with the main character from Daphne, is that she didn't sound like a teenager, and the same can be said about James and Amelia here. So they kind of decide to play house. They up the ante. They first start by exploring the house, just, free diving, holding the breath, seeing how far they can go. Realizing this isn't going to work, they decide they need some scuba gear. So they get some kind of rudimentary scuba gear from James's family. And they first dive down there without any scuba training. At first, I was like, oh, I'm going to be complaining about this because they just seem to be experts at it. But no, they actually go and do scuba classes, so I can't complain about that. And they get like legitimate scubas. There was something unnerving about the house. I mean, Malerman does that well. It's apparent that this house. Here's the line that I would say perfectly describes it. Just because a house is empty doesn't mean nobody's home. And yeah, there's some creepy stuff going on with the house. As they're sleeping on the raft, they feel like Amelia wakes up feeling like she's been watched, which is creepy as all hell. That's awesome. It's the creature or the entity whose house it is starts kind of haunting them in real life outside. Not that this, I should rephrase that. In their actual lives, this is real life. It's not like this is all a dream or anything. Like Amelia goes back to work. James is encountering stuff in his sleep at his house. Amelia is encountering footsteps at work. It's creepy. It's unnerving. Those parts are handled really, really well. And then I think Josh Malerman got sick of writing this novella and said, you know what? I'm not going to develop that further. We're just going to we're going to go with it. Whatever I put in this draft is what we're doing. So, yes, you do see the thing at the house. I say the payoff is a little underwhelming. The events after that payoff are even more underwhelming. And then the ending is the most underwhelming of all. Consider me very underwhelmed. Yeah. I don't know. Like, the idea was there. Like, it could have been fleshed out. It almost felt like, in a way, like Josh Malerman was contractually obliged to write something else, which is very much the complaint I have with Mallory. I went on a whole rant with Mallory. This wasn't as bad as Mallory. Mallory, I hated that novel. I hated that novel so much that it made me dislike Bird Box retroactively. I didn't hate House at the Bottom of the Lake. If it was longer, if it was 300 pages and I still had the same underwhelming, disappointing ending, then maybe, yeah, I wouldn't like it. It was, like I said, it was a very middling read. It's too short to annoy you too much, but it's not deep enough, no pun intended with them diving into a house, to reach the goal line that he's trying to accomplish. I will say there is one moment. Reading this post Mallory that did annoy me. and it was a show, and you're supposed to show and no tell, and he tells the hell out of this, where he says, he literally mentions, and I quote, the scariest thing that could happen, and it's the least scary thing that could happen. So he just prefaced it by saying it was the most scary thing, and I'm like, what the hell, man? That was like the most tell and don't show. You could have just shown the thing happening, but yeah, it's, I guess, a jump scare in the novella, and it wasn't very scary. I guess that's part of the thing where it wasn't very scary, is that I don't know what to classify this as. It's not horror. I mean, there's some spooky things that happen, but I wouldn't say it's a horror novella. I guess you could say it's kind of a coming-of-age novella. I mean, but coming-of-age is really more of a trope. It's not really a genre. Although I guess it's kind of a subgenre of drama. But we're just arguing pedantics here. I guess it's a coming-of-age of, James and Amelia on their summer of dating as they deal with this supernaturally weird house at the bottom of a lake. This is widely available through Del Rey. I believe it did have a limited press edition through a small press originally. Because I don't think this was Del Rey originally. I guess it is, because it says a Del Rey paperback original, so I guess I can shut up about that. Oh, no, there it is. It was originally published in the UK by This Is Horror. That's what I'm thinking of. I feel like the This Is Horror version has an extra short story in it. I could be completely wrong on that. They both have the same cover art. But yeah, you can buy this wherever books are sold. If I don't know if VJ Books has any more signed copies. They are going out of business or potentially retiring. I don't know. I thought they were retiring at the start of this year. They seem to have put that in the back burner now and not mentioned retirement ever since. But if they do have copies, you can pick up a copy from VJ Books for pretty cheap. If not, you can probably find a copy online if you want it signed for cheap. Or you can just buy a trade edition. It's an all right read. If this is your first Malerman title, it's probably not a good representation of his other works, particularly Bird Box, Unburied Carol, or Inspection. Ignore Mallory. When you say, hey, I wonder if Bird Box has a sequel, the answer to that is no, it does not. We're going to collectively forget Mallory existed. Bird Box was it. But yeah, House at the Bottom of the Lake, published by Del Rey. You can pick it up where books are sold. It's not a bad read. Just don't go in expecting a horror novel or novella. It's, like I said, a coming-of-age kind of story with some supernatural elements. But, decent read nonetheless. I have a bunch of other book reviews on this channel, at least one a week. I'm going to be posting them on Tuesdays, and then if I bonus ones, whenever the hell I post them, Thursdays, Fridays, whatever. But that main one's going to be on Tuesdays, because I need to keep myself locked in on that. But plenty of other unboxing videos between here and there to keep you entertained. So please consider liking and subscribing, and we'll see you around next time.